Frank Piasecki was born in 1919 in the city that would become the cradle of rotorcraft.
He came from a very simple family, not educated but smart, very recent Polish immigrants.
Like so many children growing up in the 1920s, Frank was captivated with aviation. He was 10 years old when autogyros began to take flight in Philadelphia.
A familiar sight would be an autogyro landing to deliver mail. It must have inspired him.
Frank was a violinist, a photographer, an excellent student, and consumed with building model airplanes.
In high school, he worked for Kellett on the factory floor. The chief pilot said to him, "Listen, kid, I've heard you're a photographer. If you come and do these photos for me, I'll give you a ride in my autogyro."
By virtue of the wind, the pilot was able to land the autogyro vertically. That's what captured his imagination. The freedom to be able to fly vertically.
The unpowered rotor on the autogyro only allowed it to descend vertically, but Frank was fascinated. He committed to study engineering and aeronautics, first at the University of Pennsylvania and then at New York University. In 1939, while Frank was in his senior year of college, the first viable American helicopter was demonstrated.
The first true helicopter in the United States was built by Igor Sikorsky.
Igor Sikorsky was a towering figure in aviation. Born in the Russian Empire in 1899, he designed bombers for the Tsar's army during World War I. He fled his homeland after the Russian Revolution in 1919 and settled in America. 4 years later, he opened his own aircraft manufacturing company. Admired as an engineering genius, he continued to design fixed-wing planes, but also turned his attention to vertical flight. The concept of lift is the most basic principle of flight. For an aircraft to fly, it must create a force that overcomes gravity. Lift is the result of air flowing under and over the wings. A helicopter's blades function like wings, spinning to generate airflow above and below the blades to lift the helicopter upward. But helicopters deal with another phenomena known as torque that spins the body of the helicopter below in the opposite direction of the rotor. Sikorsky's solution was to have a small vertical rotor on the tail, countering the torque, stabilizing the aircraft.
When Igor Sikorsky is starting to perfect his first practical helicopter, the VS-300, it was appearing in all sorts of periodicals and on the newsreels. And when people saw the helicopter in action, they started to see a vehicle of the future. Sikorsky certainly fed this vision. This created something of a helicopter craze in the United States.
My father could feel the burgeoning excitement. He had been watching Sikorsky working on his single rotor helicopter, but he knew that there was a lot more to explore and a lot of technical issues that had to be solved.
He said vertical takeoff and landing opens up such incredible freedom of operation. I think he wanted to genuinely